You're listening to the Millennial's Choice Show, Canada's most trusted podcast on all things real estate, finance, and entrepreneurship. Here's your host, Matthew Ablacan.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Millennial's Choice Show. For those of you listening to for the first time, my name is Matthew Ablacan, and I'm here with a very special guest in the house. She is our newest team member, and I think this is her first podcast.
It is. My very first.
So, Marryanne Stillo, welcome not only to our podcast, but welcome to Millennial's Choice. You're officially part of our team on the real estate side. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. Thank you so much.
So, a lot of you guys meeting Marryanne for the first time, her family and herself, they've been my clients for many years, and she thought it would be easy to become a realtor. So she wanted to get her real estate license.
I never thought it would be easy. Not at all. Not at all.
But you wanted to get your real estate license, and
yes,
we'll talk about that. And then once you got your real estate license, it was like, I got to join Matthew. I got to join the best. I got to join the best and brightest. And this kid's going places. And I said no at first. And then her husband forced me in a position where...
This is a lot of lies.
He said, how? What did Nick say? Well, you're probably not privy to those conversations.
Oh, okay.
Nick called me and said, I don't want my wife going anywhere else because I don't want her to basically not get scammed, but I forget the word that he used, but get taken advantage of in our industry where it happens a lot. We've talked about this on other podcast episodes. And so, I said, fine, let's have the conversation. And we're here now. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How did you, as a mother of four, you left your career, you left your career in architect, right?
Yeah. So I originally went to school for architecture and interior design. I got my degree in that, and I practiced for many years with a couple different firms. And then when I started to have children, I really had to make the decision if I wanted to continue down that path or if I just needed to take a break. And I have 4 kids. So...
Oh, 5 with your husband.
Yeah. Okay. 4 children, ranging from 11 is my oldest and 5 is my youngest and 2 in between. And it was just proving to be very difficult to try to juggle all of this. So together with my husband, we made the decision that I just needed to take a break and just really focus in and raise my kids and just be there for them because I thought that that's what they needed the most in that time period. So now I'm at the point where my youngest is in school. They are all in school. He will be going into SK in the fall. And I decided I wanted to do something for myself. I just needed it. I really wanted to just make a splash and get in there and take this opportunity. So real estate came to mind just in discussions with you and just, brainstorming and what do I want to do? And I'm the type of person that I like change. I like learning new things. So I thought that this would be a great opportunity. I come from a home builder family. My dad was a home builder and my husband's in that industry as well. And I just thought, you know what? I want to do this. I want to start something fresh and go for it. So I did.
I love that. So how come, I'm just going to play the other side here.
Sure.
How come you didn't put your kids in daycare and stick to your career? And like, what was that decision like? And do you regret leaving your career? And I don't want to say this to make it sound like do you regret your life now? Obviously, I know you don't. We know each other personally.
Yeah.
But at that time, were you regretful? How did that decision come about? Did you ever think about putting your kids in daycare and staying in your career?
It did cross my mind. I'm not going to lie. When my oldest daughter was 1, I thought to myself, should I do that? Should I just put her in daycare? But, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And looking back, I didn't really appreciate that when I was there in that moment. But now when I look back, I just realized how important that was for me. And I loved it. I loved coming home and having my mom there. Dinner was being made. I loved all of that. So I wanted to give that to my kids. And I did for 10 years. I did. And like I said, so now that my youngest is in school, I have that little more flexibility that during the day while they're in school, I can do what I want to do and, do something for myself and still be there when the bus drops them off at 4 p.m. So it did cross my mind, but it wasn't a difficult decision. And I had the support of my husband. So that helped with that he was able to, pick up where I couldn't. And he was very supportive in that. So it wasn't so much of a challenge and I don't regret it. I think it was amazing that I was able to do that for 10 years. And like I said, I like change. So it was nice to be able to put on that hat for a while and do it and be there. And for certain things, like even at school, when they have presentations and talent shows and parent teacher nights, and even during the day when there's certain things going on within the school, and if they ask me, I'm available for that. So it wasn't so much of a difficult decision. It was easy.
So now transitioning into real estate, I mean, you were seeing me around your family a lot doing deals. You're probably like, this guy's swimming in the dough. I must get into real estate. But I remember that conversation we had in the old house regarding you thinking about getting into real estate. And I remember encouraging you saying, like, I think you do well, like, get into it. But what made you want to get into real estate? Just your background?
Yeah, I think just my background and just being able to give that different perspective, because I do have an architectural background. So just when working with different clients, I could possibly give them like a different outlook on things. And I've always been interested in homes, design, things of that nature. And I thought that it would be a good opportunity. And then I would also be able to have the flexibility. So if my child, let's say, for example, needs to be picked up from school, I'm still able to do those things. I do not have to be committed, from like 8 to 4, 9 to 5. I can play around with that schedule as I see fit. So I still will be there for them.
Awesome. It's funny that when you joined our team, I had one of my other clients, and you know who it is, but we won't drop her name here. But one of my other clients messaged me.
Oh, yeah.
And said, I'm also thinking of doing the same thing.
Awesome.
And my reply to everyone is, go for it.
Yeah.
Just don't think it's easy.
Yeah.
That's it. Go for it, but don't think it's easy. I'm not one of those haters. Like when I first got into real estate, my first year, I met this guy who my parents knew.
Okay.
I didn't meet him through them. I just happened to go to a store and he was there talking to the cashier or the owner, whoever it was. And I remember him telling me he was a realtor. And I remember him telling me, oh, what do you do in this and that? And I told him, I said, I got my real estate license, but I also have my Bachelor of Education. I went to university. And he goes, Matthew, stick with that. Stick with teaching. They're at least respected. Here, realtors, and he got up and bent over backwards. He's like, they just stick it in us all the time. Like he did that gesture.
Wow.
I was not subscribing to like anything that he was saying. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to perform my business or operate it the way maybe you're operating it. Mm-hmm. But respectfully, I said, okay, cool, whatever. But I tell everyone, go for it, but it's not going to be easy. As long as you know that and you're aware of that, then go for it. I had a second guy message me on Facebook, childhood friend, and said to me, thinking of going into financial services, can you make money as an insurance agent?
Okay.
And I said, you can make money anywhere. It's how many people are you going to help, or your service or your product. But that's not the point. The point is, are you going to love what you're doing? Are you going to enjoy it? You have to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You've been licensed at the recording of this episode. How long have you been licensed for officially? 4 weeks?
Yeah, for about a month.
But you're seeing hands-on, one-on-one with me, what I go through.
Absolutely.
You see a bit of it. You're not with me all the time.
Yeah.
But how much of an emotional roller coaster is it?
It totally is. I could, from the 4 weeks, I could totally see that. And it's work. It's definitely not, all these clients are coming to you, no problem. It definitely takes work. And there's like a whole process of thinking about how to work this business. And I could see that where, some people would be like, oh, a real estate agent, whatever. But, you're really servicing your clients. So you have to put in that effort. And I feel that if you put in that effort and you're honest and you're transparent with your clients and you show that you're trustworthy, then you would be successful. And I think that that goes for anything across the board in any profession. If you are honest and you're trustworthy and you are there for your clients, then you'll be successful as an insurance, mortgages, whatever it is that you decide to do. I think that that's like the key.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in our business, like you're going to start seeing who's who in the office. You're going to start seeing them when you're dealing with them. They have a listing, you have a buyer, you have the listing, they have the buyer or the renter or whatever the situation is. You're going to start seeing different people's personalities and way of doing things.
Right.
After 12 years of doing this career full time, I've seen so many personalities, but I've never seen it all. Like never. 12 years, hardcore, like aggressive. Mm-hmm. Haven't seen it all. I'm meeting realtors that are quote unquote successful. I don't think they are, but quote unquote successful that they don't pick up their phone. Like when I got one of them on the phone the other day and they're like, what do you want? Because we only deal through text message and email.
Yeah.
It boggled my mind because I thought to myself, I go, how many deals have I done through being in person with somebody or picking up the phone, explaining a particular situation or whatever, giving context to a situation, and you do the deal.
Yeah.
Like I can't even number it. Like I don't want to say it's 100 times. I can't number it. Like it could be less than 100, but I don't want to put the number to it because it's so many times of me doing that where I can't fathom how this realtor who is selling this property on behalf of their client is not picking up the phone so that I could explain things to them that, quite frankly, we don't have time to put in a text message. We don't have time to put it in an email. And it's not stuff that's legally binding that you need to put in an email. It's stuff that just gives context to our buyers, to our sellers, their situations, the property, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So you're going to start learning more about the personalities of different people that run this business or are in this business. And I've told you from the beginning, I'm only going to train you on how I do things.
Well, I appreciate that 100%. But just to flip back on what you just said, I experienced that earlier this week. I reached out to somebody looking for something for a client, and she replied back to me and said, I only text. I had called her and she didn't answer the call. I left a voice message. I sent her a text message. Hey, I just left you a voice message. Can you call me back, whenever you have a chance? She replied back to me and said, I only text. I don't talk on the phone. And so I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess, but not really, but okay. So I'm sending her some questions and they were literally like 1-word answers, 1 or 2 words. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, how can this even happen? Like, how can you possibly make a deal? Like, it would be so difficult because they're so unresponsive. Like, how can you not want to talk on the phone at a minimum?
My initial thoughts are when I talk to those people is number 1, they're not successful. But number 2, I feel, I could be wrong, and maybe it's not the case for everyone. I feel that they have other jobs. That's why they can't answer the phone.
Maybe it's a possibility. Like,
why aren't you answering your phone in a business that involves so much back and forth?
Yeah.
So much it's naturally an adversarial process.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you approach it with malice or intent to, negatively impact the other side.
Yeah.
But you're trying to create a win-win. So I have one scenario right now where, and I feel like Carson, this is turning into a grind my gears episode, but I have one scenario now where we've tied up a property for 2 weeks. We were dealing with the home inspection. We were the buyers, not me, but I was representing the buyer.
Yeah.
We did a home inspection and we were waiting for the lender to get back to us. And the lender on this particular property, the type of deal that it was is it's one of those homes that you have to renovate fully.
Okay.
It's a gut job.
Right.
So the lender took a little bit longer, but the reason being is they appraise it for as if it's repaired, as if it's renovated.
Oh,
so they
okay.
if you buy it low enough and you get it appraised high enough,
right,
you could get the money for the renovation and the down payment.
Okay.
It's a really cool program we have for our buyers. Get in touch with us.
Wow.
If you want to buy and flip homes and renovate homes. But the lender got back to us. Unfortunately, the value, according to them, wasn't high enough.
Okay.
So they didn't want to do the deal. So when I back out of the deal, I got my client to, he wanted to back out. I'm trying to get their deposit back. They're going to get it back. But as I'm backing out of the deal, the realtor is just texting. He's not even checking his emails.
Wow.
So as he's texting, now I've been annoyed with this realtor from the beginning, but I put that behind me to represent my client.
Mm-hmm.
We got him the house, but now he's asking me saying, hey, can we get the inspection just so your client doesn't need it? Can we just get it and give it to potential buyers down the road? And he's texting me about it. He's texting me saying, why are you changing your mind? I go, check your email.
Yeah.
I said, the lender got back to us. The value's not there. Maybe we overpaid. Maybe it's not worth it. The value's not there. So we're backing out of the deal. Like what? Then he called me.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even know who it was. I said, good afternoon, Matthew speaking, type of thing.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, so about this deal. I go, sorry, who is this? And he named it. You know what I told him very politely? Because I was very like annoyed at this point.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I go, I don't understand why you keep going back and forth. I go, I emailed you and I texted to you and now you're calling me, asking me what happened with the lender. I go, I don't know if you're trying to catch me in something. The buyers changed their mind.
Yeah.
Get us the deposit. That's it. Now you're calling me?
Yeah.
This whole time leading up to this deal, you've never called me. Now you're calling me?
See, it's like, so now in my mind, I'm thinking, had he picked up the phone from the beginning, maybe this conversation would have went very differently.
1,000%, not maybe. I have never done a deal with the two realtors that are coming to my mind right now as I'm talking with you.
Yeah, you never done.
I never did a deal with them.
Yeah, I could see that.
You can't. I've done deals with realtors that cheaped out on the photos of the listing and photos of like a really nice backyard.
Yeah.
175 feet deep, but there's no photos of the backyard. But when we go to the property, I'm like, oh my guys, trust me. When the photos of the backyard are taken, if they are, this house is going to sell. I've done deals like that where realtors make their little mistakes for us. And you know this because I am annoying, but I hold you to a standard.
Sure.
There's a reason for it. There's a reason to my madness. That's how I operate. I don't just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Photos, marketing, this and that for us, this is a standard.
Right.
This is a standard. You don't want to do photos. You don't want to pay for this, pay for that. We're not taking your listing. Our name is on it.
Yeah.
And we need to do what we got to do to get you top dollar.
Well, and it's funny because so now that I'm in this industry, I've always been on the flip side of it, right? Like I was always purchasing something. So I could get that one end, but now that I'm in on this industry, so I'm seeing like the flip side of it, it goes such a long way. It's unbelievable to me that the pictures, you're absolutely right. Like you get professional photos done. It's 1,000 times better. Even for myself, when I'm looking through searching things for clients, if the pictures aren't professional, it's like, what is this? It's so difficult to try to figure out, what's what. And it's like, what does it take? It's like, it doesn't take much to get professional photos, proper, proper sentences and wording, descriptions. Like it doesn't take much. So it boggles my mind why you wouldn't do it from the beginning.
Well, they're cheap, right? And here's the thing. If somebody folds at the dinner table with their client who's negotiating or a potential seller who's negotiating a commission agreement and a listing agreement, and they say, you know what, we want to only pay this, and the realtor folds, well, they're going to fold and cut corners everywhere else. What happens when the heat in the kitchen goes dramatically up and you're negotiating with another pro?
Yeah.
You've seen me the way I talk to people and negotiate. You've seen it to a certain extent.
Right.
I go to bat, and depending on who the other realtor is, we just did a deal. We tied it up. It's conditional until a couple days from now. But it took us 4 weeks to do that deal for a house, for a $1.4 million house.
Wow.
Why? I knew the realtor. They know their client, longtime client of theirs. I know the client of mine very well. I know who I am. And it was back and forth and drilling and arm twisting. And not only that, it's never rude. It's never rude. You could be aggressive, but not rude.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never rude. It's just what it was is, here's what I think. Here's what you think.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but here's what's happening.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but also there's this and there's that. So if you're not a realtor who's on top of your game,
yeah,
and you're going into those negotiations, You would have quit $50,000 ago.
Yeah.
$100,000 ago. The house was sold for about $1,600,000 to $1,650,000. It was sold. The buyer didn't close. We got it for our clients for $1,380,000.
Wow.
Big difference.
Yeah.
And it was listed at $1 million afterwards at $1,450,000. And there was like about a $70,000 negotiation. But at one point, the negotiation stalled and we walked away within the 4 weeks. We walked away. 2 weeks later, came back and did that deal. These are things you need to feel, you need to know, you need to have gone through, you need to have really be sure about. And sometimes you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
You're going to walk away when you shouldn't, or you're not going to walk away when you should have.
Yeah.
Just as an example. But you learn these things. And my point, bringing it back to the main point here, is those realtors. That's why I assume they're not successful, because how could you do all that if you don't even pick up the phone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
yeah.
it's like you said, it's mind-boggling. One more thing about the pictures. So we do a lot of rentals because, as you know, we work with a lot of landlords and investors. We represent the landlords typically. We do so many rentals. People wonder, Matthew, why do you take the rentals on? Well, first of all, these are my buyers. Number one, they've bought these properties from me. Second of all, they're going to sell one day or they're going to buy more.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure we're servicing them. And as we grow, Marryanne's going to help them, or Danny's going to help them, or whoever's going to help them. But I was doing this. I do these rentals. And I mean, you know, you and your husband have a property there too. And I made everyone pay for the photos like up front. I said, you guys we gotta spend the money here to take these photos.
Yeah.
Now the cost went up. Photos used to be, I'm not gonna lie to you, $150 to $200. Minimum, you're looking at $400 now from what I'm finding.
Wow. Yeah.
$400. So if you rent a condo for $2,000 a month, chances are there might be another realtor involved in the deal. You're gonna split the commission with them.
Right.
So if the commission is 1 month's rent, which is $2,000, $1,000 goes to one person, $1,000 goes, let's say, to me. After we pay brokerage fees, after we pay taxes, the time we spent, maybe I'm left with, on a deal like that, maybe I'm left with $400 gone to photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
But guess what? What ends up happening is, number one, you have the photos now. You don't have to waste time later on ordering them when the listing comes up again.
Right.
So with tenants, there's a lot of turnover all the time. You've gone through it like 3-4 times.
Yes.
We used the same photos
for sure
every single time. So now you've become more efficient. You have better quality photos. Your client's taken care of.
Absolutely.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. So what's your objectives? Like, I mean, we've been doing some training together and we have some coaching we do together as well. Like, what are some of your objectives in this career? Like, I know I'm putting you on the spot, nothing scripted, but what's something you really want out of this career?
I think just for myself, I want to be able to say that I did it, and like I did it on my own. I mean, I've done other things on my own, but I'm always up for like a new challenge. And like I said before, I wanted something different. So I've set like a number in my mind of what I want to achieve in the first year, and I'm pushing to achieve it. And I want to do it for myself.
What is it?
What's the number?
Is there a number, or is there a particular goal? Make it public. Let's hold you to it.
No, absolutely not.
Why?
No, because it's just something in my head that I want to just keep and see if I can do it. But also too, like, you know, it's funny, even this morning before I left, I told my kids at the breakfast table that I was coming to do this. And my oldest daughter just had this like smirk on her face. And so I asked her, you know, like, what's up with the smirk kind of thing? And I just said to her, like, are you proud that I'm doing this? And she was like, yeah. She's like, you're becoming like a boss mom. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. So a part of me is like, I want to be able to say to her and to my other daughter that as a mom, you know, sometimes people tunnel you down this path of, yeah, you're a mom, and like, that's it. But in my mind, I want to show her, yeah, I am a mom, but I can also do these other things. Like, I'm a mom that wears many hats, right? So like, working and having a job is just one of the hats that I wear, aside from wearing the mom hat and, going to the doctor hat and being the doctor and doing all of those things. This is just something else that I can do, and I can juggle it. So if I can do it, you can do it, and your sister can do it, and whoever else wants to do it can do it as well.
What about the opposite? What about the women who say, I'm not having kids, I'm not doing anything like that, I'm not staying at home, I'm not going to be a stay-at-home wife, a stay-at-home mom, I'm not going to give up my career for kids. It's not fulfilling. They cry all the time. It's a lot of work. I have 2 kids under 2. My wife, Sarah, takes care of them.
You're right.
During the day-to-day stuff. But don't get me wrong, I don't leave the office at 7 anymore because my kid goes to sleep at around,
right.
Now it's changing. He's going to start going to bed again at 7. He used to go to bed at 6, but he's staying up longer. But the point being is I don't leave the office at 7 anymore, although I can keep working. As much as I want to, I actually need to keep catching up to stuff that's not as important, but it's there.
Right.
My point being is I go home a little bit earlier because I want to spend time with my kids, and I give them that other side that they need to see, the father and the man of the house and things like that. And I think Sarah and I, we're always figuring things out, but we have a pretty good system in place now. Mm-hmm. But what do you say to those women that are might be listening to this? Number one, some are taking inspiration from you. Some are saying, she's doing it, she did it, I can do it too.
Right.
Some are saying she knows nothing because now she has to get started from scratch. And meanwhile, her kids are older now. She's wasted a lot of years of her life.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're thinking exactly. But what do you say to those women that are so career driven that completely delay having kids? They're now in their 40s. They have some regret. We find out later that these women end up having a lot of regret,
right,
as the years go on. What do you say to those women?
Listen, I say that at the end of the day, it's a balancing act. And if that's the choice that you made, that's fine. Everyone is entitled to make their own choice. This is just what worked for me. Now, that's not to say that it might not work for somebody else, and that's fine. If you focused in on your career and you decided that that was the best thing for you to do at that time, that's fine. People evolve and change all the time. Like the woman that I was 10 years ago is not the woman that I am today, and that's okay. So I think for myself, what it really comes down to is a balancing act. I can't give, if I give 100% of something, then everything else is gonna suffer and fail. So in my mind, what works best for me is just balancing it. Everybody needs to balance. And thankfully, I have the support of my husband that is there with me and is helping me out. But to the people and to the women that have decided to have kids later in life, that's fine. I know women that have had kids in their 40s, and that is absolutely okay. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you and for your family. Yeah. And that's it.
I agree. What about the women that are in their teens, late 20s also, thinking about marriage? They're at that fork in the road.
Yeah.
Where it's do we get married? Do we have the kids? I feel like this is even silly of me asking this question because for me, I just knew.
Yeah.
You just know. People used to tell us you're just going to know, but I never knew what that meant until you just have that feeling. You're just you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Marriage. I felt like I was ready for it.
Yeah. I think, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so what I was saying was they're at this fork in the road where they can go all in on their career. You are somebody who now chose to put that aside and go all in on being a mother and a wife.
Yeah.
I know the answer to this, but if you can go back at that point, very point in your life right now, would you change it?
No, I wouldn't. Just because I found that, those formative years of a child are so crucial. It's so important to see, that your mom is there for you. You need anything. When my children were crying in the middle of the night, the majority of the time, it was me getting up because I was home with them during the day. My husband was working. He was doing what he needed to do. So I was the one that was there. So I just felt that it was one or the other. I would either have to give my job 100% and put them in daycare and do whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just for me, I just didn't want that. I wanted to be there for them for those formative years, because that season doesn't last forever. And here I am. That season has as like fast as it came is as fast as it went. And now here I am. My oldest daughter is now 11. And it's on to like different things, right? Like different emotions, different friends, and all of that. So I just felt that in that moment, these kids needed that stability from me. And that's what I wanted to give them. And now that they're older, that season has come and it's gone. So now I'm able to do something for myself, because the reality is that as you get older, you get wrapped into doing your own thing. Like there's going to come a point where my kids aren't going to want to hang out with me anymore. They're going to want to go, hang out with their friends, and they're going to get a job. They might go away to school. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, for myself, now what? I don't want to be there sitting at home twiddling my thumbs all day, when now they're at the point where they can self-sustain themselves. Like they can. Don't get me wrong, I still help them with the things that they needed, but the basic things they can do on their own. And now it's even to the point where I've given them responsibilities that they need to fulfill at home for themselves. Like we are a family unit. I'm now working, Dad's working, and you can help out too. And they're just small little things here and there. Like it's nothing crazy, but it shows even for them, like you have to take responsibility. And that to me is like the key to success. Like you can't just be going around and expecting everybody to do everything for you. It doesn't work like that. No. So it's like you have to start taking ownership of certain things within your room, within the kitchen. Like you can help out too. And it just evolves.
Unless you're the CEO.
Even then, Matthew, no, don't get me wrong. Even then.
Most of the responsibilities on the CEO, for sure.
Yeah.
You have to take responsibility, take accountability. Simple stuff with the kids. Pick your dishes up, pick your clothes up, organize your shoes.
Yeah,
whatever.
like you can load the dishwasher and unload it. You can make your bed. Like there's nothing, I'm not asking you to wash clothes. Like, of course, that's me. Like you're still small. But like you can make your bed. You can put your clothes in the hamper. Like they're not crazy things, but it helps, right? And it shows responsibility for them.
I love that. I know your experience, one last thing, your experience is limited at this moment in time besides your background, but the 4 weeks you've been in the business, a few weeks now, what advice do you want to give to a new realtor, a freshly licensed realtor?
I think that the advice that I would just give, and even just from working with you, is just find somebody that would be willing to take you under their wing and just show you the ropes. And it's been such an amazing journey, even though this is only the beginning, but just to have you guide me and show me how to do certain things has motivated me and saying, you know what, like I really want to do this. Like, and I could see even with you, like you're successful in your business. It's like, I want to be successful too. So I appreciate you taking me under and just showing me how to do it. So I think that that's what I would say in starting, and like in the training, just the different training that we've been doing, it really gives you a different mindset. One that I didn't, like I said earlier, I was always purchasing something. So now this is like a different end. So I feel like that's very helpful because it really gives you a different mindset on how to approach things.
I appreciate the kind words towards me, and vice versa. It motivates me that I have responsibility for people. But the training is so like, I am so amazed at how God has brought me this far because I had zero training.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what my interview was? My intake interview? First of all, I bought a condo from this company.
Right.
So there was rapport there. I was a client. I was a customer.
Right.
The guy didn't even ask me to sit down. He's like, there was files on his chairs and he didn't ask me to sit down. I was at the door of his office. He's like, there's no training here. This is his exact words. There's no training here.
He said this to you.
There's no training here. There's no office. You're not getting no office. There's no teams here. You're not going to learn. You're not going to join a team. And this is your split.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, I wanted to learn the new home business.
Okay.
And I knew this company does a little bit more new homes. And so I said yes. And the thing is, man, I'm a grinder. I learn. This is a bad analogy because I don't know how to swim in an ocean. I know how to swim in a pool, but throw me in the water, I'll swim. I'm sure if I was thrown into the ocean, I would swim, but that's how I learned. It was so self-taught. Like so what motivates me now is like, I came this far like that.
Yeah.
Imagine now having this person in your corner, Mike in our corner, Storm in our corner.
Yeah.
Matthew's in your corner as well.
Yeah.
You're also in my corner. You're helping me. Danny's in our corner. Once that comes together, that's what's been motivating me this season.
Yeah.
Because now I'm in a different season in my career than you are.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like it's such a motivational thing. And then you've seen it firsthand because like when you've done the Vaughan Business Expo, for example, the barbecue, like you're going to see that. Like the way we've been talking to people, like you see how much interest we generate.
Yeah.
But don't kid yourself. Realtors don't generate that kind of interest. So there's like a lot of things that I'm learning and tweaking and adjusting from learning from all these sources now in this new season that I'm just bringing it to you guys. And I'm saying, let's just do it like this.
Right.
Because I've tried it for 12 years and all of a sudden it's just motivating all of us.
Yeah.
All of us together. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. It is motivating. And just, I think at the end of the day, you have to really like what you're doing. If you love what you're doing, no matter what it is, you will be successful at it.
Love is a two-sided coin. There are days there are moments, never a day.
Sure.
There are moments that happen where I'm like, what am I doing? I'm so educated. I'm so smart. I can build a rocket. That's what I feel in my head. Why am I doing this? And then there's moments where I'm like, I get the paycheck and I'm like, all right, it's all worth it. Let's go through that again.
Yeah. Well,
but you know us, it's 90%, 95% is a repeat business and referrals.
Right.
We're very close to our people. We're very close to our clients. And that is satisfying because they do take care of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Those people do take care of us. So that is part of
and it's like, it's a sense of trust, right? They're coming back to you. They trust you. So I feel like that in itself is satisfying because it's like they count on you and they trust you to, protect their best interests and do what's right.
It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
And the three core values for me that I wrote down.
Yeah.
Integrity / honesty. They're kind of one and the same, but integrity.
Yeah.
Service, number 2. Responsibility, number 3 / duty.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things that I operate by personally in my work.
Yeah.
In my work, but also in my like personal life.
Yeah.
When I go to the gym, if I meet, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day.
Yeah.
But like when I'm at the gym, like today, Alex goes, Alex, like the coach, Nick knows.
Yes.
He's like, why'd you come in today? He's like, if you're going to act like this, I'm like, Alex, I go, I've been crushing it for 3 days straight. I go, I didn't realize how sore I was going to be. And you chose to increase my entire routine today because you know that I'm tired. He's like, go home next time, go home or don't come. And I said, no, I'm going to finish, but I might not finish as strong as you've seen me finish because I'm sore. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
But I had to go to the gym. I had to stay true to that. I've been committed. I've been consistent. I got to do that.
Yeah.
So I operate with those values. When you operate like that, like you take pride in Millennial's Choice, you take pride in your office, you take pride when someone walks in here.
For sure.
Before this podcast, we had one of the biggest counselors in Vaughan here on our podcast. I take pride in that.
Absolutely.
I take pride that they're willing to come do that for us.
Yeah.
And support us. So we have to give back too. And that's through our actions, through our service, through how do we handle our clients? How do we handle the business? So I'm very happy that you're a part of the team. We wanted to introduce you to our audience here on this episode. And this was your first one. So congratulations on that. Hopefully you'll be back.
I'm sure. Yes, of course.
With lots of stories of how terrible these realtors are and whatnot. But do you have any final words for our audience and where can they follow you on Instagram?
My Instagram is Marryanne Stillo _realtor. And yeah, you can find me on there and I'm going to continue to post and I'm excited to learn with you. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks guys. And until next time, we're out.